Hello and welcome to another edition of News Showcase. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. Leaders from the three southern states, Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu, have staged protests in Delhi against what they call unfair distribution of federal funds to the region. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan was the latest to join, which marked the escalation of the street protests to draw attention to the issue. Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal also joined the protest. Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and his deputy D.K. Shivakumar kicked off the action at Jantar Mantar on Wednesday, a site at the heart of the city where protests are regularly staged. The protests became more visible after Federal Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presented the country's interim budget at the start of this month. Lawmakers from Tamil Nadu's governing DMK party staged a protest at the parliament compound over lack of attention for the state in the national budget. The protesters in black shirts were joined by lawmakers from its ally, the Congress party and the CPIM, who raised slogans in support of their grievances. The protest also highlighted their claims that the federal government did not allot sufficient reconstruction aid after the state was ravaged by a cyclone and floods late last year. A senior member of the DMK said the government's response was evasive and sluggish to repeated requests for aid. Farmers staged protests in Delhi to demand better compensation for their produce, among a bunch of other demands. According to reports, the farmers marched on the Indian Parliament from neighboring Noida, a business district in the state of Uttar Pradesh. The protest triggered a massive operation by the police and various security units to keep the event under control. The arrangement caused intense traffic jams on the busy border crossings between Delhi and Noida. Concrete barriers, sandbags, barbed wire barricades, and riot vehicles were a common sight along the route of the protesters. 3 years ago, massive protests by farmers across northern India dominated headlines for months before it climaxed in dramatic scenes at the iconic Red Fort in Delhi.
इस वक्त हम मौजूद हैं दलित प्रेरणा स्थलों को रोक दिया गया है इनके साथ
Speculation has been growing about former Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh Chandrababu Naidu setting up an electoral alliance with the BJP in the general election, which is due by May. According to reports, Naidu held extensive talks with BJP's star election strategist Amit Shah and the party's president JP Nada. Sources confirmed that seat-by-seat negotiations did not take place, but the conversations were focused on forming electoral blocs. Naidu's face-to-face talks with the BJP leaders is believed to be the second in as many months, and he is expected to make more trips to Delhi to firm up any deal that might be in the making. India's general election is expected to be a direct race between the BJP's NDA and the Congress Party's India bloc. For the sixth consecutive time, the Reserve Bank of India held its benchmark lending rate unchanged on Thursday. This was expected, given that inflation remained over the 4% medium-term objective and that economic growth was still robust. Governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Shaktikanta Das, stated in his statement that monetary policy must remain actively disinflationary. The key repo rate, which was hiked by 250 basis points between May 2022 and February 2023, was kept at 6.50% by the six-member Monetary Policy Committee, which is composed of 3 RBI and 3 external members. According to reports, 5 out of 6 members voted in favor of the rate decision. India has announced it is suspending free movement of people on its border with Myanmar, where troops and rebels are engaged in battles. The free movement regime allows people from both sides to travel up to 16 kilometers into each other's country without documents. India has said it will fence the entire 1,600-kilometer border, and the stretch that runs through India's Manipur state has been already sealed. The state's Meiteis and Kuki-Zo tribes, who have ethnic ties to people in Myanmar's Chin state, clashed last year, which is one of the reasons for ending the free movement of people. Tens of thousands of people were displaced, and close to 200 people lost their lives in the clashes. The Jammu and Kashmir government has established a state-of-the-art snow control room to effectively tackle snowfall situations in the region. This high-tech facility is equipped with the modern machines made for all types of snow clearing operations and staffed with trained personnel to monitor and manage snowfall in Kashmir. The control room will also be responsible for monitoring weather forecasts round the clock and coordinating clearing of blocked roads. Parts of scenic Kashmir have witnessed snow since January, with heavy snowfall in some places that buried roads and swept down rooftops. Snowfall causes concern as it disrupts normal life and affects transport systems. It also brings cheer to local businesses which depend on tourists who come in large numbers to the territory. Millions of people have taken part in the general election in Pakistan as authorities ordered an internet blackout across the country. There are 128 million registered voters and half of them are under the age of 35. There are over 5,000 candidates but only about 300 of them are women who contest for the 336 seats in parliament. Nawaz Sharif, who was elected Prime Minister 3 times previously, is tipped to win the elections. The election is a direct contest between his faction of the Pakistan Muslim League and the Pakistan People's Party led by Bilawal Bhutto. Reports said jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan cast his vote through postal ballot and he is banned from contesting the polls. The ceasefire terms suggested by Hamas have been rejected by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who claims that total victory in Gaza is achievable in a few months. He was speaking in response to demands by Hamas after Israel endorsed a ceasefire proposal to end the war in Gaza. Netanyahu called the conditions bizarre and stated that they were not going anywhere. Reports said the talks are still ongoing in an attempt to come to an agreement. Stepping up his rhetoric, he said, "If Hamas will survive in Gaza, it's only a question of time until the next massacre." Israel was expected to object to Hamas's counteroffer, and Israeli authorities view any attempt by Hamas to terminate the war on its terms as wholly unacceptable. The U.S. Supreme Court is set to consider whether Donald Trump should be prohibited from seeking the presidency. The judges will consider whether the state of Colorado can remove Trump off the ballot, following evidence that he participated in an insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Their ruling will also establish the legitimacy of similar attempts in other states to remove Trump from the ballot. After the primaries in 3 states, Trump is the clear front-runner for the Republican nomination. In November, Trump is expected to take on Democratic President Joe Biden unless the court rules against him. There's growing pressure to settle the issue by the 5th of March, when 15 states would have voted in the Republican primaries. According to the EU's climate service, global warming has surpassed 1.5 degrees Celsius for the first time in a full year. International leaders made a commitment in 2015 to keep the global temperature increase to 1.5 degrees, which is thought to be essential to help prevent the worst effects. Although the historic Paris Agreement is not broken by this first-year-long violation, and scientists say global warming can still be delayed by acting quickly to reduce carbon emissions. According to a historic UN assessment from 2018, there were far more risks associated with 2 degrees Celsius of warming than there were with 1.5 degrees, including the possibility of extreme heat waves, rising sea levels, and the extinction of biodiversity. A U.S. drone strike in Baghdad has killed a senior commander of a militia supported by Iran. A car which was hit was carrying a Kataib Hezbollah leader and his guards. As reports said, the nighttime raid caused multiple loud explosions. According to the Pentagon, the commander was in charge of planning and carrying out assaults against U.S. personnel in the area. The U.S. blamed the militia for last month's drone attack in Jordan that killed 3 U.S. soldiers, which is seen as a fallout of the conflict in Israel. Anti-war activist Boris Nadezhdin has been disqualified by the Russian election board from running for the office of president in polls next month. President Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine has drawn criticism from Nadezhdin, despite the fact that few voices of opposition have been heard in Russia. He attempted to refute the Electoral Commission's assertions that over 15% of the signatures he included in the qualifying process were erroneous, but the commission turned down his bid. Nadezhdin declared on social media that he would appeal the ruling in the Russian Supreme Court. Scientists say the asteroid that exploded over Germany last month is a rare sort of space rock that may hold the key to understanding Earth's early history. It is believed to be one of the smallest space rocks ever detected before it hit Earth. Reports said the pieces of the asteroid identified as 2024 BX1 were found only 5 days after the explosion. A scientist involved in the recovery of the fragments said, after analyzing the meteorite shards, it was found that they belong to an uncommon class of objects known as orbits. The space rock is believed to have formed around 4.5 billion years ago, which corresponds with the origin of solar system planets. Thank you for watching. I am Priya, Tamil Nadu's first artificial intelligence news presenter. Do tune in, same time tomorrow, for a roundup of the latest news and updates in India and around the world.